Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video this afternoon there is lots to negotiate about. So as you all know, there is actually quite a few defensive midfielders on our agenda, but which defensive midfielder should Manchester United sign, because I think we do need a defensive midfielder, because the only defensive midfielder we have got is Nemanja Matic. So that's the first topic I'm going to delve into, and then after that topic I'm going to delve into what best signings Manchester United have made since the Ferguson era, and what worst signings Manchester United have made since the Alex Ferguson era. So that will be the next topic. So let's delve into the first topic of the defensive midfielders that are on Manchester United's agenda. Now, one defensive midfielder that has been on our agenda, and that is Saul Niguez from Atletico Madrid. Now, I think I've spoken to you about Saul Niguez last week. Now, according to recent reports I've just been reading, I think I read it in The Sun, I know it's not a reliable source, but they've actually said that Atletico Madrid could lose Saul Niguez for £65 million, so they could lose him for half of the price due to the coronavirus pandemic, and I think Atletico Madrid are sitting sixth in La Liga and that. So if the season, wasn't to resume in La Liga, then, maybe Atletico Madrid are at risk of losing Saul Niguez for £65 million. I'm very sceptical that Manchester United will sign Saul Niguez, to be quite honest with you. But it did come out the other week, saying that we're willing to pay up to £70 million for Saul Niguez, which is around half than what Atletico Madrid are demanding, because Atletico Madrid have said they want around £130 million for the player. That's his actual release clause in his contract with Atletico Madrid. I think it's around 132 or 133 million pounds. Saul Niguez is under contract of Atletico Madrid until 2026, so he's got 6 years remaining on his contract. But it was 3 years ago that he had signed a 9-year contract with Atletico Madrid. And it did say, we're willing to offer Saul Niguez nearly £200,000 a week, so we're willing to increase his wages, because I think his wages at Atletico Madrid at the moment are around £115,000 a week. Also, too, Manchester City have expressed their interest in Niguez. Don't forget, it did confirm, I think it was last week, that allegedly it said Barcelona had agreed to get Saul Niguez for around £15 million back in October last year. But reportedly, Barcelona have decided not to take the first option to sign Saul Niguez. And that. But yeah, Man United and Man City have expressed an interest in the player. Now, Saul Niguez, of course, has spent the vast majority of his career with Atletico Madrid. I think he's now into his 12th season with them, if I'm correct, yeah. 12th season with them, 12th season, and he's made nearly 300 appearances for them in all competitions. He can play as a defensive midfielder, but he can also play as a central midfielder. And I think when he was a lot younger, he was predominantly a centre-half. And I think he's, 25 or 26 years of age, he's Saul Niguez. But I think Atletico Madrid, will want to do everything they can anyway to convince him to stay. Because, like I said, Atletico Madrid have lost quite a few of their imperative players in recent years. Don't forget, they lost Griezmann last summer after he endured 5 years with Atletico Madrid. They also lost Diego Gordon. He was a long servant for them, didn't he? Endure around 10 years with Atletico Madrid. They also lost Rodri last year. So this is why they basically said, they want 130 odd million pounds. Because because Atletico Madrid know that there's very little teams, that will pay 130 odd million pounds for the player. But we're actually seeing Saul Niguez as a possible replacement for Paul Pogba. If Paul Pogba is to leave Manchester United in the summer transfer market. So he's one defensive midfielder on our agenda. Now, another defensive midfielder on our agenda is Thomas Partey, and of course he also plays for Atletico Madrid. Now, obviously, Thomas Partey would be a much, much cheaper solution than Saul Niguez, because we could get Thomas Partey for around £43 million, because that's his actual release clause in his Atletico Madrid contract. Now, reportedly, Atletico Madrid have been in negotiations over getting Partey a new contract. Reportedly, Partey is not happy with Atletico Madrid's contract offer, because reportedly, Atletico are willing to double his wages from 65,000 to 130,000 a week, and reportedly his release clause will increase to around £90 odd million if he was to sign this new contract. Thomas Partey has got a contract with Atletico Madrid until 2023, so he has still got around 3 years remaining on his current contract and that. So like I updated you the day, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I think it was the day before, Sadiq Adams came out and he specifies on African transfers, and he actually, said that Thomas Partey, wants to leave Atletico Madrid in the summer. He's got no intentions of extending his contract, and his preference is to join Manchester United. So this is what Sadiq Adams had said. This is what he had said in that. And, Thomas Partey, I think, has spent the vast majority of his career with Atletico Madrid. I think Thomas Partey now is into his 8th season with Atletico Madrid. I think he's made over 100 appearances in the La Liga. And I think Thomas Partey is 25 or 26 years of age. But I think he's a very, very good holding midfielder, is Thomas Partey. Now, we're not the only club that have been in for him. Don't forget, Arsenal have been relentlessly linked with Thomas Partey. And I'm going to reiterate some of the stuff I did mention on my video yesterday. I'm going to reiterate some of the stuff that I mentioned on my video yesterday because, like I said, Damasio came out, who's a very reliable Italian journalist, and he's reported on quite a few things, but he actually said that Atletico Madrid would be willing to sell Thomas Partey. And he also put their other players into the equation as well. If the right offer was to come in, Atletico Madrid are willing to do business with the player because Damasio knows how much how much Arsenal do want Thomas Partey now. Obviously, was it last week? Thomas Partey's father advised him to leave Atletico Madrid, and he confirmed that Arsenal and Atletico Madrid have been in negotiations over the possible transfer. Thomas Partey's agent had denied having any negotiations with Arsenal. And also, too, last week, Thomas Partey denied rumours of a move to Arsenal and that. So I think, there's still a chance that Arsenal could get him on the board. It did say Arsenal could only sign him on one condition, and that's if they get qualification for the Champions League. Of course, I'm very sceptical that they're going to get Champions League anyway, because what Arsenal's sitting 9th in the league, and they are 8 points behind Chelsea. But Arsenal definitely do need a midfielder because the likes of Lucas Torreira, Granit Xhaka, and Guendouzi, they haven't lived up to expectations. Thomas Partey hasn't played in the Premier League as yet, but I think, he probably I think he would be Premier League standard, and I think he'd live up to expectations in the Premier League, definitely, because I've watched him a few times at Atletico Madrid, and he has, been very, very impressive. But it did say, a couple of days ago, we are emerged as the favourites to sign the player, but there's still a slight chance that Arsenal could get him on the board. But Thomas Partey, I think, does want to leave Atletico Madrid. So that's another holding midfielder that's been on our agenda. And now another holding midfielder that's been on our agenda is Wilfred Ndidi. Now it has been reported in the last couple of days saying that, we've expressed an interest in the player. It also mentioned that Arsenal have expressed an interest in him. Now, I would, take Wilfred Ndidi at Manchester United. I definitely would take him. But I'm just very, very sceptical, that we are going to get Wilfred Ndidi, because don't forget, Wilfred Ndidi, has disregarded speculation, basically, and he insists that he's happy with Leicester. I think he sees his foreseeable future with Leicester, and I think, he does want to see out his contract with Leicester, because Wilfred Ndidi has got a contract with Leicester until 2024. Got to say, since his arrival at Leicester, he has been a revelation. Wilfred Ndidi is now into his 3rd season with Leicester. I think he's made around 130 odd appearances in all competitions. Leicester did pay around £15 million in from Genk back in 2017, and he is only at the age of 23, so still very, very young, and he's well proven in that in the Premier League. Hold up play good, supposed to be very effective in the air, very, very, very good at tackling. Definitely would take him at Manchester United, and I think he's valued at around £50 million is Wilfred Ndidi. But, I'm just very, very sceptical that he will leave Leicester. Very, very sceptical about it indeed. But, Leicester wouldn't want to lose him anyway, because, like I've mentioned before, Leicester have lost quite a few of their imperative players in recent years. Don't forget, they lost Harry Maguire to us last summer. So we did business with Leicester there. Obviously, they lost Raheem Mahrez to Man City in the summer of 2018. They also lost, N'Golo Kante and Danny Drinkwater to Chelsea. So Leicester, wouldn't want to lose Wilfred Ndidi. Yeah. Another defensive midfielder that's been on our agenda recently, and that has been Declan Rice. Now, I've been keeping up to date with what's been going on with Declan Rice recently, haven't I? Because it says, my club, Manchester United, have expressed an interest in him. Also, too, Chelsea have expressed an interest in Declan Rice. I think a few other clubs have been in for him. Don't forget, Declan Rice is a former Chelsea player, because obviously, he was in their youth set up for the good, was it 7 or 8 years? Chelsea, did axe Declan Rice off in 2014. But he actually, never got in Chelsea's first team, did Declan Rice. I think, he's valued at around £70 million, is Declan Rice, but I think West Ham will want to do everything they can to try and convince Declan Rice to remain loyal to them, because Declan Rice, has done very, very well for West Ham. He has got a long-term contract with them. He's under contract with West Ham until 2024. We've inquired about his availability in the past. Declan Rice is predominantly defensive midfielder, but he can also play as a centre-half, and he is only at the age of 21. And of course, he's well Premier League proven in that. So yeah, again, I would take him at Manchester United. But there again, maybe, we won't be determined to pay up to £70 million for the player. So yeah, so which, defensive midfielder, do you think Manchester United should sign? They are the defensive midfielders that are on our agenda. So that is the news on that. Now, let me delve into the next topic. I'm going to give you our best signings and worst signings since the Alex Ferguson era. Now, as you all know, we have recruited over 30 odd players since the Alex Ferguson era, and spent close to the £1 billion range in the last 6 or 7 years. In all the managerial eras. So obviously, when we had Moyes, he recruited Marion Fellaini and Juan Mata, and he spent around 60 odd million pounds on them two players. Obviously, Moyes enjoyed, was it around 8 or 9 months with Manchester United. He's enjoyed the shortest tenure with the football club. Obviously, we knew anyway it was never going to work out under David Moyes. Obviously, Ferguson was ever at the fault for ever recommending David Moyes in. But that's, the only mistake Ferguson ever made. But the main explanation why Ferguson recommended Moyes in is because there was both Scottish and that. So, yeah. And obviously, under Louis van Gaal, quite a lot of players got recommended in. Obviously, Louis van Gaal brought the likes of Daley Blinden, Martial, Luke Shaw, Rojo, Darmian, Falcao, Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger, Di Maria, so, Louis van Gaal, brought a hell of a lot of players into Man United. I think he recruited, was it around 14, 15, 16 players, something like that, but Louis van Gaal also got rid of a lot of the players, that we did have under the Alex Ferguson era. Because don't forget, when we had Moyes, the vast majority of the players, were there still from the Alex Ferguson era. And of course, under Van Gaal, we won the FA Cup, and, he enjoyed, around 2 years, was it, at the football club. But, he wasn't the right manager for Man United. Then obviously under Jose Mourinho, we recommended 11 players in under Mourinho, and the vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's. Jose Mourinho, of course, brought, Sanchez in, Mkhitaryan, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Fred, Matic, Lukaku, Lindelof, Bay, Delors, Lee Grant, so Bay, yeah. Who else did he bring in? He brought a lot of players in, did Jose Mourinho, Diego Delors, so yeah, he brought a hell of a lot of players in, did Jose Mourinho. There may be, is he a few I haven't mentioned, let me know in the comments below. But Mourinho, did spend a good, £400 million on players, at Manchester United. So spent a hell of a lot of money. And of course, Mourinho enjoyed 2.5 years at the football club, won 2 trophies in his first season. But obviously, I've already outlined a few reasons why it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era, because had bad disputes with the board, had bad disputes with the top players, and the board wasn't willing to back the signings that I wanted to recommend in to the football club and that. So this is, why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho. And of course now we've got Solskjaer, 4th permanent manager, of course, since the Ferguson era. and he's obviously recruited 5 players in free transfer windows. Of course, he recommended Daniel James in last summer, and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire. And of course, in January, he recommended Bruno Fernandes in and Odi Nagalo in. So yeah, Solskjaer has brought 5 players in so far. So let's go through it now. The best signings first we've made since Ferguson era. Then I'll delve into the worst signings. So yeah, so the best signings we've made, definitely Bruno Fernandes, I think, is the best or one of the best signings we have made since the Alex Ferguson era. Bruno Fernandes, has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. Of course, we paid around £65 million to Bruno Fernandes, with add-ons included, and he's on that list of one of our most expensive signings, is Bruno Fernandes. Now, I think he's so far got 3 goals and 4 assists. Don't forget Bruno Fernandes won Premier League Player of the Month for, reflecting on his good performances in the Premier League. And like I said, Bruno Fernandes, very, very instrumental, decision making, very, very good, and definitely, has made the difference in the team. And like I outlined that reason before regarding Bruno Fernandes, I think, the signing of Bruno Fernandes saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job at Man United. We'll put Odi Nagalo into the equation as well. But yeah, definitely Bruno Fernandes is one of the best signings we've made since the Alex Ferguson era. Also got to say, Odi Nagalo, has been a very, very good signing. Obviously, we've only got him on loan though at the moment. We paid around 3 or 4 million to get Odi Nagalo on loan. Of course, we're paying like a third of his wages, because I think his wages at Shanghai Shenhua are like £300,000 a week, and we're paying like £100,000 a week, yeah. It remains uncertain at the moment, whether we're going to get Odi Nagalo on a permanent transfer. Solskjaer did make the admission. He did make the admission quite a few weeks ago now, and he did say it's likely that we'll get Odi Nagalo on a permanent transfer. It will cost us around 15 million to get him on a permanent transfer, which is a cheap solution, to be fair. I think it did say before we may have to extend Odi Nagalo's loan due to the coronavirus pandemic. His current loan spell ends at the football club on the 31st of May. But he said, we'll probably extend it until the 30th of June. Shanghai Shenhua came out, was it a while ago now, and they was willing to offer him 400 grand a week plus a 2-year contract extension to convince him to turn down a permanent move to Man United. But Igalo, like I said, has enjoyed a good start to his Man United career, and I think he has been a good cover-up for Marcus Rashford, to be fair, and he is a vocal point, and he is an option of a different type of centre-forward, is Odi Nagalo. So he was a really, really good signing, Odi Nagalo, I've got to say. So yeah, he's on that list. And Wan-Bissaka, definitely, one of the best signings, we have made since the Alex Ferguson era. Definitely, one of the best signings we've made since the Ferguson era is Wan-Bissaka. Of course, he's done very, very well. I read a stat about Wan-Bissaka, and it says he's made around 99 tackles in the Premier League this season. So that just indicates how good Wan-Bissaka has been. And I do believe he can be our right back for the next 10 years. I really, really do. And he's only in his early 20s, he's Wan-Bissaka. We did pay around £45 million to him from Crystal Palace last summer. Yes, we did. And he only made his senior debut in February 2018, and that's, of course, when he was at Crystal Palace. I think his defensive contribution has always been very, very good as Bissaka's. Before the football season got suspended, we started to see the attacking side of his game, which was also very, very good. But Bissaka is regarded as one of the best, right backs in the Premier League, definitely. I think he's just behind Trent Alexander-Arnold, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But yeah. Also got to say, Daniel James, he's one of the best signings we've made since the Ferguson era. Best signings we've made since the Ferguson era. I think Daniel James has done really, really well. We paid around £15 million for him from Swansea last summer. With add-ons included, I think it risen up to around 17 or 18 million pounds. I do really, really like him a lot. And don't forget, Daniel James did score on his debut against Chelsea, his league debut against Chelsea, that was. For my own perception, I think we've overplayed him this season, to be quite honest, because when we signed him from Swansea, I did expect him to get game time under his belt, but I didn't expect him to play as many games to the extent as he has done. So that's been a surprise in that aspect. Now we've played James on the left and right this season, but you tend to see the best of him on the left, because that's where he's supposed to be more effective. Still get him wrong. There's still some aspects of his game that need to improve. Maybe his tracking back needs to improve. Maybe his crossing needs to improve a bit. But I think prior to that, very, very good player. But when he left Swansea, he'd taken a huge step in his career, coming all the way from the Championship, to the Premier League. But some players that come from the Championship to the Premier League tend to do really, really well. But definitely Daniel James is a foreseeable future for Manchester United, I've got to be honest. I think Maguire, again, being a very, very good signing for Man United so far. Of course, we paid £80 million for him from Leicester last summer. Obviously, he's the club's second most expensive signing, and he's the most expensive centre-half in the world, is Harry Maguire. He's done really, really well. His distribution's been good. He shows that ability to play out from the back. Very effective in the air as well. Maguire has scored 2 goals for Manchester United. I think he scored his first goal in the league in the 2-0 win against Chelsea. Don't forget that was our first win at Stamford Bridge in the league since 2012 when we beat them 2-0. And I think he scored in the game against Tranmere. And I think we did make the right decision by giving Harry Maguire the captaincy on a permanent basis. We give him the captaincy reflecting on Ashley Young's departure. So yeah, but I think all of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's signings, have been very, very good signings. So that's one thing I do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for. Got to say as well, I think, Herrera, was a very, very good signing. He's one of the best signings, we did make, since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, he's no longer here now, but he was a very, very good signing when we got Herrera. We got him under Louis van Gaal era. That's who I forgot to mention earlier on, I think. But we got him under the Louis van Gaal era, Herrera. We paid around, 27, or was it around 29, 30 million or something like that for him from Atletico Bilbao. Herrera, of course, did endure 5 years at Manchester United. He did leave last summer. He went to PSG on a free transfer. Obviously, we haven't yet got that adequate replacement for Ander Herrera, which is a shame. We haven't got that replacement yet for him. But I thought Herrera endured a good 3-4 years out of the 5 years, he was at the football club. Also, I got to make an admission. I think Martial's been one of the best signings we've made since the Ferguson era. Martial's now into his 5th season at the football club. Of course, we paid £36 million in from Monaco, rising up to around 57 or 58 million, I think, based on goals and achievements. I thought one of the best seasons Anthony Martial endured was his debut season under Louis van Gaal era. Don't forget when he scored on his debut against Liverpool and that. But, we got Anthony Martial as a 19-year-old. And don't get me wrong, he's endured some difficult spells as a Manchester United player as Anthony Martial. He's endured some very difficult spells, especially under the Jose Mourinho era. But I think, he's done all right this season. Before the football season got suspended, he had rejuvenated himself. Don't forget he's had quite a few injuries, throughout the course of this season as Anthony Martial. So let's just put that into the equation. We have been playing him in that number 9 role this season. I think we'll keep him in that central position, even though he does predominantly play out wide on the left. Because I think, when Rashford does come back, and I think if the football season does resume, Rashford will be back. Rashford will play it out wide. Because, the vast majority of Rashford's goals does come from that wide position, to be quite honest with you. Rashford's been out of a back injury since January, but he has been stepping up his fitness regime. Martial, I think, scored like 16 or 17 goals this season. But, yeah. Also, I got to make an admission, and I think Fred's been one of our best signings as well. Of course, we paid £50 million for Fred from Shakhtar Donetsk back in 2018. And I think this season he's confounded his critics wrong, because you couldn't really have a perception on Fred, when we had him under Mourinho, because Fred never really got his opportunities under the Jose Mourinho era. So let's just put that into the equation. I thought Fred was an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk. Don't get me wrong, he's not world class as yet. He hasn't emulated that level, but Solskjaer's given his opportunities this season, and he has, relished them opportunities, and he's done really, really well as Fred. So he was also, a very, very good signing for Man United. I've also got to say as well, I thought Juan Mata was a very, very good signing, even though it was Moyes that brought him in. We did pay around, £40 million for Juan Mata. And of course, now Juan Mata is into his, 6th season at the football club. I think he's made over 200 odd appearances for Man United in all competitions as Juan Mata. And I know he doesn't get in the team now that much. But, when he does get his chances, he still really does make an impact, does Juan Mata. You can play him in that number 10. You can also play him on that right-hand side. So he's one of the best signings, we have made since the Alex Ferguson era and that. For Lindelof, Lindelof, he's been a very, very good signing for us. We paid £30 million to him from Benfica, back in, was it 2017? I think it was Benfica, wasn't it? We got Lindelof from, yes, it was. And he's done really, really well. Didn't struggle for that consistency in his first season, but I think last season, this season, a lot of aspects of his game have really, really improved, and he's gone well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line as Victor Lindelof. He's not world class as yet, but I think he's one of the best signings we have made from my own section since the Alex Ferguson era. Eric Bailly, very, very good signing. My only element of concern about Bailly is that he's very, very injury prone. Bailly was Jose Mourinho's first signing. Bailly is now into his 4th season at the football club. We paid £30 million for him from Villarreal. Yes, we did in that. So yeah, he was also, a very, very good signing. He was also, a very, very good signing in that. So yeah, so I think, they're the best signings, that Man United have made. I've got to say, since the Alex Ferguson era. Ibrahimovic wasn't so bad either. He wasn't so bad, was Ibrahimovic. But there you go. So now let's delve into, the worst signings, that Manchester United have made since the Alex Ferguson era. So obviously, the worst signings I think we've made. Definitely, Alexis Sanchez. He is one of the worst signings, that we have made. Probably not the worst, but he's on that list. Of course, we've got Sanchez from Arsenal back in January 2018 as part of a swap deal of Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal and that. And obviously, Sanchez didn't live up to expectations at Man United when we got him like we all thought he would have done, reflecting on, what he did in his 3.5, 4 years at Arsenal. He also did very, very well under Pep Guardiola's guidance when he was younger at Barcelona. We've got Sanchez now on loan at Inter Milan, but he's facing a dilemma with Sanchez because Inter Milan won't get him permanently. We don't obviously want him back. And like I said, Sanchez's wages are really having a bad effect on the football club. But yeah, he's been one of the worst signings, that Manchester United have definitely made. And I think he's also enjoyed a very, very difficult time at Inter Milan. I've got to make that admission. Fellaini, he's one of the worst signings we made since the Ferguson era. Fellaini's not here now, but he was still a very, very bad signing under the David Moyes era. Of course, Fellaini endured 6 years at Manchester United. And, we spent around just over £27 million on Marian Fellaini. Very, very inconsistent. He was very, very slow as well. Obviously, he left for China back in January 2019. It did Marian Fellaini in that. So yeah, got to say, Darmian, was also a very, very bad signing for us. Darmian was service to requirements at the football club anyway. We paid around 12.7 million for Matteo Darmian from Torino. I think he enjoyed was it around 4 years at Manchester United. Of course, we let him go last summer to Parma. Was it for just over? I think we let him go for a couple of £1 million. Got to say as well, Rojo, he's one of the worst signings we have made because Rojo is now on loan at Estudiantes. Rojo did enjoy a good 4 years at Manchester United, but I thought he was very, very injury prone, and he was never one of our first choice centre halves anyway. So let's just put that into the equation. So we have made quite a few bad signings. I thought also Depay, Memphis Depay, he was also a very, very bad signing. He did really, really well at PSV before he came to United, but I thought, with us, he was terrible. But there again, never really got his opportunities, Memphis Depay. Di Maria, he enjoyed a good start to his Manchester United career in that, but I don't think he was a great signing, Angel Di Maria, if I am going to be quite honest with you. So yeah, so let's just put that into the equation. So yeah, so that's the best signings, and I think the worst signings, you know, that Manchester United have made. Maybe there's a few others that I also haven't mentioned as well. Obviously, now I give you the news, didn't I, this morning on Ed Woodward. Of course, Ed Woodward has come out and, you know, made a transfer promise to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and insists, you know, he will back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He will back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Don't forget, you know, Ed Woodward last Friday, you know, insists we will not do business as usual in the transfer market. So what he means in that aspect is that, you know, we won't be spending millions of pounds on players. So basically has ruled big transfers out as Ed Woodward. But he does believe, you know, we will remain highly competitive in the summer transfer market. You know, don't forget he said, you know, there's uncertainty over the, you know, the Premier League season finishing. He also says there's uncertainty over the cup competitions and that. But, you know, there you go. But Woodward and Solskjaer have both basically said, you know, they want to make around 4 signings in the summer transfer market. Because probably believe we need around 4 signings to become title contenders and that. Because Solskjaer has already identified the areas in the squad where he does want to strengthen up and that. So there you go. But like I said, you know, Solskjaer does deserve more time at Manchester United. He really, really does. Because before Woodward came out with this statement last week, it said Solskjaer had around 9 players on his agenda. Still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young players to Manchester United and that. So there you go. So there you go. And yeah, so that's everything to update you today, guys. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.